The voicemail was in Korean, but Bimbo didn't need a translator to understand desperation. She'd heard that exact tone 5 years ago, screaming Joon-woo's name in an airport while immigration officers dragged her away. Now it was his voice, breaking, begging. "Bimbo, please. I know I don't deserve this. I know you hate me, but my mother, she wants to meet her granddaughter before—" Delete. Bimbo threw her phone across her Lagos office and laughed. Actually laughed. Because the audacity? The audacity of this man to think she'd let that woman anywhere near her child after what she did, after the deportation, after the money they threw at her to disappear, after 5 years of silence. Her assistant knocked. "Ma, there are 3 Korean men in the lobby. They say they're from Kang Corporation. They say it's urgent. Something about an inheritance and legal custody?" Bimbo's blood ran cold. She walked to the window of her high-rise building, her building that she built with her own brilliance after Korea tried to destroy her, and looked down at the lobby. There he was, Joon-woo, expensive suit, defeated posture, and beside him 2 lawyers carrying briefcases that screamed, "We're about to ruin your life." Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "I'm downstairs. I know you don't want to see me. But this isn't about us anymore. I'm here to see my daughter. I want to be in my daughter's life, and if you refuse, I'm ready to take you to court to get custody. But I'm not leaving Lagos without my daughter." Bimbo read it twice, then a 3rd time. Then she did something she hadn't done in 5 years. She smiled, not a happy smile, a dangerous one. The kind of smile that says, "You just made the worst mistake of your life." Because Joon-woo had forgotten something important. The woman he abandoned at that airport? She was weak, broken, desperate. The woman standing in this office? She was a millionaire CEO who'd spent 5 years learning how to destroy men who underestimated her, and he'd just walked into her territory. She grabbed her phone, called her lawyer, and said 5 words, "Get me a war room, now." Then she headed to the elevator, straightened her blazer, and prepared to teach Joon-woo Kang the most important lesson of his privileged life. You don't threaten a Nigerian mother's child and expect to survive. If you missed part 1, the link is in the description. If you're ready to see Bimbo destroy everyone who ever doubted her, buckle up. Because this story is about to get wild. Subscribe right now so you don't miss updates on more stories like this. 5 years earlier, Lagos, Nigeria. The woman walking into Echo Atlantic's newest tech hub didn't look like someone whose heart had been shattered in a Korean airport. Bimbo John wore confidence like armor, tailored jumpsuit, natural hair and a crown of locks, and the kind of walk that said she'd burned down her old life and built an empire from the ashes. Behind her, a small hand gripped hers tight. "Mummy, is this our building?" Bimbo looked down at her daughter, 4 years old, impossibly beautiful, with her father's sharp cheekbones and her mother's fire. "Yes, baby. This is ours." The receptionist stood. "Ms. John, welcome to—" "I know where I am." Bimbo's smile was sharp. "Is the Korean delegation here yet?" "They arrived 10 minutes ago. Conference room B." Perfect timing. Miji appeared from around the corner, older now, no longer wearing corporate masks. She ran Bimbo's Lagos office, left Korea the same year Bimbo did, for different reasons but the same destination, freedom. "They're already complaining about the AC," Miji said. "Very on brand." "Let them sweat." Bimbo handed her daughter to me. "Auntie Me will get you ice cream while Mummy handles business." "The kind with sprinkles?" "All the sprinkles." As they walked away, Bimbo took a breath. 5 years of building this moment. Her company, Byte Barrier, had become West Africa's premier cybersecurity firm. When Kang Corporation's entire African expansion got hacked 3 months ago, losing $200 million, they'd come crawling. And she'd made them beg. Now they were here, in her building, on her continent, about to discover exactly what she'd become. She pushed open the conference room door. 3 men in suits turned. She recognized none of them. Good. Gentlemen, welcome to Lagos. The eldest bowed slightly. Ms. John, I'm Director Park. Thank you for agreeing to meet. I haven't agreed to anything except this conversation. She sat at the head of the table, her table, and watched them shift uncomfortably. Your company came highly recommended, Park continued. We understand you have experience with our systems. I built your systems. Then your vice president chose his mother over basic human decency, and I was deported. Silence. So yes, Bimbo smiled, I have experience. Park cleared his throat. That was unfortunate. However, we're prepared to offer triple your initial proposal, plus full creative control, plus a public apology from Kang Corporation for the visa irregularities that forced my departure. We can't possibly. Then we're done here. She stood. Wait. Park looked panicked. We'll need to consult with headquarters. You have 1 hour. There's a cafe downstairs. The jollof rice is excellent. They left, muttering in Korean. Bimbo allowed herself a small smile. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Bimbo, please. I need to talk to you. JW. She deleted it without responding. He'd been trying to contact her for 3 years. She'd ignored every attempt. Until yesterday when she'd sent one message. Your company needs me. Have them come to Lagos. Alone. She'd assumed he'd send underlings. Big mistake. The cafe downstairs was busy with Lagos lunch rush. Bimbo ordered suya, checked her emails, and pretended not to notice when the entire energy of the room shifted. She looked up. Joon-woo stood in the doorway. 5 years had changed him. Thinner, harder, expensive suit, hanging slightly wrong, like he'd lost weight and hadn't bothered to get it tailored. His hair was longer, touched with gray at the temples despite being only 32. He looked like a man who'd won everything and lost the only thing that mattered. Good. Their eyes met across the crowded cafe. Bimbo. Her name in his mouth still hurt. She hated that. You weren't invited. I know. He walked toward her table. Can I sit? No. He sat anyway. You look. Don't. Silence. Around them, people stared. A Korean man and a Nigerian woman, tension thick enough to cut. Where's my daughter? Finally. The question she'd been waiting for. Your daughter? Bimbo's voice was ice. You mean the child you abandoned? The pregnancy you let your mother pay me to terminate? I didn't. You did. By doing nothing, you chose. Joon-woo's hands shook. I was a coward. I know that. I've known it for 5 years. Every day I... Save it. She stood. Your company wants my help. Fine. I'll fix your security. But you get nothing. Not my forgiveness, not my daughter, not even my anger. You're just another client. Bimbo, please. It's Ms. John. She walked out, leaving him sitting there, and this time she didn't look back. But her hands were shaking in the elevator. Damn him. Damn him for still affecting her. Back in her office, Miji was waiting. So, how bad was it? He looks like death. Good. He asked about Zara. Miji's expression softened. What did you say? Nothing he deserved to hear. Bimbo collapsed into her chair. Miji, what if he actually tries to take her? What if his mother's lawyers find a way? Then we fight. But Bimbo, you need to prepare yourself for something. For what? Zara's getting older. Eventually, she's going to ask about her father. What are you going to tell her? Bimbo had no answer. The truth? That her father was a coward who chose money over love? That his family tried to erase her existence? That Bimbo had raised her alone because the alternative was letting them destroy both of them? How do you explain that to a 4-year-old? I'll figure it out, Bimbo said finally. I always do. I know you will. But maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, you should hear what he has to say. Not for him, for you, for closure. I don't need closure. I need him gone. But even as she said it, Bimbo knew it was a lie. The meeting that afternoon was brutal. Joon-woo sat across from her, Park and the others flanking him, while Bimbo systematically destroyed every security decision they'd made in 5 years. Your firewall is a joke. Your encryption is outdated. Your employee access protocols? She laughed. I could hack this from my phone in 20 minutes. Then help us fix it, Joon-woo said quietly. I am, for $15 million half up front. Park choked. That's cheap, considering what you've lost already. She slid a contract across the table. These are my terms. Take it or leave it. Joon-woo didn't look at the contract. He looked at her. Where is she? Not part of this negotiation. I have a right. You have nothing. Bimbo's voice could have frozen water. You gave up your rights when you chose comfort over courage. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Joon-woo stood abruptly. Everyone out. Park protested. Sir, we haven't. Out. They scrambled. The door closed. Alone now. This was dangerous. 5 years, Joon-woo said. 5 years, and I've thought about you every single day. How romantic. Did thinking about me keep you warm in your mother's house? He flinched. I left Korea 2 years ago, moved to Singapore, started my own company, cut ties with my family. Want a medal? I want you to know I changed. Too late. Is it? He moved closer. I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I know I destroyed everything. But I have a daughter, Bimbo, a child I've never met. Doesn't she deserve... She deserves better than a father who runs when things get hard. Then let me prove I've stopped running. Bimbo laughed, bitter and sharp. How? Grand gestures? Money? You think you can buy back 5 years? I think I can try. You had your chance to try, at the airport, when I was screaming your name and you just stood there like a statue. When your mother offered me money to disappear and you said nothing. When immigration dragged me away and you watched. That was your chance. Joon-woo's face crumpled. I know. God, I know. I've replayed that moment 1,000 times. If I could go back... But you can't. That's the thing about choices, Joon-woo. They're permanent. The door burst open. Miji, pale and frantic. Bimbo, we have a problem. The problem was Madame Kang. She'd arrived in Lagos with a legal team, claiming grandparent rights, threatening lawsuits, and somehow, impossibly, she knew about the daughter. How? Bimbo stood in her office, shaking. I've been so careful. Joon-woo looked sick. She has investigators, probably been tracking me for years. Your mother is in Lagos, right now. I know, you need to leave, both of you. She doesn't get to meet my daughter. Legally, she might have grounds, Miji said carefully. Korea has reciprocal agreements with Nigeria on family law. I don't care about... Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Ms. John. Madame Kang's voice cold as ever. We should talk. We have nothing to discuss. I have lawyers who disagree. I'm at the Echo Hotel, room 1204. Come alone or I'll come to you, and I'll bring court orders. The line went dead. Joon-woo grabbed Bimbo's arm. Don't go. She'll destroy you. She already tried that. I survived. This time is different. She wants the child. Bimbo pulled free. Then she'll have to go through me. The hotel suite was exactly as she expected. Expensive, cold, designed to intimidate. Madame Kang stood by the window, older but no less terrifying. Ms. John, thank you for coming. I came to tell you to leave Nigeria. I came to meet my granddaughter. You don't have a granddaughter. You made that choice 5 years ago. Madame Kang smiled. Actually, Korean law is quite clear. Paternal grandparents have rights. I've already filed with the courts. Nigerian courts won't they? I've made very generous donations to several judges' favorite charities. Bimbo's blood ran cold. You can't buy my daughter. I'm not buying her. I'm claiming what's mine. Madame Kang stood. That child carries Kang blood. She belongs with family. I'm her family. You're the woman who seduced my son, got pregnant, and ran away. You had me deported. Details. Madame Kang waved dismissively. What matters is the child's future. Growing up here, in this... She looked out at Lagos with undisguised disdain. Place? Or in Seoul, with education, opportunity, her rightful place in society. You mean as your puppet? I mean as a Kang. Do you know what that name means? Power, influence, a legacy spanning generations. Your daughter could have all of that. Or she could stay here, in this developing country, with a mother who works too hard and a future that's limited by geography and circumstance. Bimbo's hands clenched. My daughter is Nigerian. She's brilliant, loved, and free. 3 things your son will never be. My son? You heard me. Any child raised by you becomes a possession, not a person. I've seen what you did to Joon-woo. You crushed every authentic part of him until all that was left was obedience. You think I'd let you do that to Zara? Joon-woo is weak, always has been. But my granddaughter, she has potential. Korean discipline combined with whatever vigor you people possess. She could be extraordinary. She already is, without you. Madame Kang's smile vanished. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm offering you a choice. Cooperate and I'll make it worth your while. Fight me and I'll take everything. Your company, your reputation, your daughter. I've done it before. To me, 5 years ago, and look how that turned out. You think building a little tech company makes you untouchable. Ms. John, I could make 1 phone call and have your business licenses revoked. Another call and your investors disappear. You exist because I allow it. No. Bimbo stood. I exist because I rebuilt myself from nothing. You tried to destroy me once. All you did was make me stronger. So bring your lawyers, bring your money, bring your threats. But know this, you're not in Korea anymore. You're in my city. And here, you have no power. The door opened. Joon-woo walked in, and for the first time in 5 years, Bimbo saw him truly angry. Mother, leave. Joon-woo, darling. I said leave, now. Madame Kang's expression hardened. You dare, I dare, everything. You cost me the woman I love. You cost me 5 years with my daughter. You cost me myself, but you will not cost me anything else. If you side with her, then I side with her. I should have done it 5 years ago. Silence. Madame Kang looked between them, calculating, realizing she'd lost this round. Fine. She gathered her bag. But understand this, both of you. I have lawyers, money, influence. If you think you can keep that child from me, you're deluding yourselves. I'll see you in court. She left in a cloud of expensive perfume and cold rage. Bimbo pulled her hand free from Joon-woo's. Don't think this changes anything. I know. I still don't forgive you. I know. And you can't just, I love you. The words fell like stones. I've loved you for 5 years. I'll love you for 5 more, 50 more, however long it takes for you to believe me. Love isn't enough. It's a start. Before Bimbo could respond, her phone rang. Miji. The building's surrounded by reporters. Someone leaked the story. Kang heir's secret Nigerian baby. It's everywhere. Of course it was. Madame Kang's final move. Joon-woo looked at Bimbo. So what do we do? And for the first time in 5 years, she said, we fight. The press conference was Bimbo's idea. If the story was out, control it. Own it. Turn it into power. She spent 2 hours preparing. Miji helped her write a statement. Her lawyer reviewed every word. And Bimbo practiced in front of the mirror, remembering every slight, every injustice, every moment they'd tried to make her small. When she walked into that press room with her daughter on her hip, Miji on one side, Joon-woo on the other, she looked like a queen. Cameras flashed like gunfire. My name is Bimbo John, she began, voice steady and strong. 5 years ago, I was deported from Korea for the crime of being pregnant and black. I was 27 years old, brilliant at my job, and in love with a man who promised me everything. When I told him I was pregnant, his family offered me money to disappear. When I refused, they had me forcibly removed from the country. The room was silent except for camera shutters. Today, I run West Africa's most successful cybersecurity firm. Byte Barrier has contracts in 15 countries. We've prevented over $1 billion in cyber theft. We employ 300 people, and we're just getting started. She looked down at Zara, who was watching with wide, curious eyes. This is my daughter. Her name is Zara. She's brilliant, beautiful, and Nigerian. She speaks 3 languages. She codes better than most adults, and she's never once doubted that she's enough, exactly as she is. Bimbo looked directly at the cameras. Madame Kang can bring her lawyers, her money, her influence, but she will not take my child. This is not Korea. This is Lagos. And here, coconuts don't bend. A reporter raised her hand. Ms. John, what about the father? Where does Joon-woo Kang fit into your daughter's life? Joon-woo stepped forward. I'd like to answer that. Bimbo hadn't expected this. She tensed, ready to shut him down. But he looked at the cameras and said, 5 years ago, I made the worst decision of my life. I let my mother intimidate me into abandoning the woman I loved and the child we'd created. I was a coward. There's no other word for it. I chose money and family approval over the family I should have been building. His voice cracked. Bimbo built a life without me. She raised our daughter alone. She succeeded beyond anything I could have imagined. She didn't need me then. She doesn't need me now. But I'm hoping, begging, really, for a chance to know my daughter. Not as a Kang heir, not as leverage in some family power play, just as her father. If she'll have me. The room erupted with questions. Bimbo pulled Joon-woo aside. What are you doing? What I should have done 5 years ago. Choosing you. It's too late for us. I know. But maybe it's not too late for me and Zara. Let me try, Bimbo, please. Let me be the father she deserves. Want to see how this ends? Want to know if the courts side with Madame Kang? If Bimbo ever forgives Joon-woo? If love can survive betrayal? Subscribe now and comment where you're watching from as we dive deeper into the story. The courthouse in Lagos Island looked like a battleground. News vans lined the street. Protesters held signs. Nigerian children stay home and Kang go back to Korea. Social media had exploded. Coconut power was trending worldwide. Inside, Bimbo sat with her legal team, trying to ignore the knot in her stomach. Her lead lawyer, Chiamaka Okonkwo, was one of the best in Nigeria, sharp, ruthless, and completely unimpressed by foreign money. They're going to play dirty, Chiamaka whispered. Character assassination, financial records, everything. Stay calm no matter what they say. Across the aisle, Madame Kang sat perfectly composed, flanked by 6 lawyers in expensive suits. She caught Bimbo's eye and smiled, cold, confident, like victory was already assured. Joon-woo sat alone, not with his mother, not quite with Bimbo, somewhere in between, which was probably where he'd be stuck forever. The judge entered. Justice Adeyemi, 60 years old, gray hair, reputation for not tolerating nonsense from anyone. This is a custody hearing, she began, not a circus. I don't care about social media, international drama, or family dynasties. I care about one thing, the child's best interest. She looked at Madame Kang's lead lawyer. Proceed. What followed was brutal. The lawyer painted Bimbo as unstable, opportunistic, someone who'd seduced a wealthy man and fled with his child. They presented evidence, doctored emails, manipulated timelines, testimony from witnesses who'd never met Bimbo but swore she was unfit. Ms. John operates a business that regularly puts her in danger, the lawyer argued. Cybersecurity means dealing with criminals, hackers, dangerous elements. Is this the environment for a 4-year-old? Objection. Chiamaka stood. Ms. John runs a legitimate business from a secure office. She's never once exposed her daughter to any workplace danger. She was deported from Korea, the lawyer interrupted, a clear pattern of legal violations. She was illegally deported for being pregnant. That's not a violation. That's discrimination. The lawyer smirked. The Korean government determined otherwise. The Korean government, Chiamaka said coldly, was influenced by the Kang family's money and connections, something this court won't be. Judge Adeyemi made notes, face unreadable. Then Madame Kang took the stand. I simply want to know my granddaughter, she said, voice soft, almost vulnerable. Oscar-worthy performance. I've made mistakes, yes. I reacted poorly 5 years ago when I learned my son had gotten involved with someone so different from our family's expectations. But I'm an old woman now, wanting to connect with my family before it's too late. She dabbed at her eyes. Fake tears, but effective. Miss Kang, Chiamaka began, you offered my client money to terminate her pregnancy, did you not? I offered to help with medical expenses. $500 million for medical expenses? I wanted to ensure she was comfortable. You wanted to ensure she disappeared. I wanted what was best for everyone involved. And what you deemed best was erasing your granddaughter's existence. Madame Kang's mask slipped slightly. I didn't know the child then. Now I do. Now I want to make amends. By taking her from the only home she's ever known? By offering her opportunities Ms. John cannot provide. The best schools, travel, culture, a connection to her Korean heritage. Her heritage is Nigerian. Her heritage is both. I'm not trying to erase her identity. I'm trying to enrich it. Chiamaka paced. Miss Kang, how many times have you visited Nigeria? This is my first time. So you've never seen where your granddaughter lives, yet you've determined it's inadequate? I've seen the statistics. Nigeria ranks low in education, healthcare, and Korea ranks low in work-life balance, mental health, happiness indices. Should we use statistics to determine a child's well-being? Judge Adeyemi intervened. Counselor, get to your point. My point, Your Honor, is that Ms. Kang has no genuine interest in co-parenting. She wants possession. There's a difference. When Chiamaka sat down, she whispered to Bimbo, You're next. Tell the truth. All of it. Bimbo took the stand, feeling hundreds of eyes on her. Madame Kang's lawyer started immediately. Ms. John, you had a brief affair with Joon-woo Kang, correct? We had a relationship 6 months. 6 months. And in that time, you became pregnant. Convenient. Objection. Chiamaka stood. Counselor is implying, I'm establishing a pattern. Ms. John, did you deliberately get pregnant to trap a wealthy man? The courtroom gasped. Bimbo's hands clenched. No, we were in love. The pregnancy was unplanned but wanted. Wanted by whom? You or Mr. Kang? Both of us, initially. Initially, meaning Mr. Kang changed his mind? Meaning his mother threatened to disown him if he chose me. The lawyer smiled. So you admit Mr. Kang didn't want the child? I admit he was pressured into abandoning us. Pressured or persuaded by reason. Ms. John, you were 27, working on a temporary visa, from a different culture entirely. Perhaps Mr. Kang realized the relationship was unsustainable. Perhaps, Bimbo said coldly, Mr. Kang was a coward, but that doesn't make me unfit. No, but your lifestyle might. You work 16-hour days. You travel constantly. Your daughter is raised primarily by a nanny, by my assistant who is family, and I work hard so my daughter has everything she needs. Everything except a father. She had a father. He chose not to be one. The lawyer paused. Ms. John, if this court grants Mr. Kang visitation rights, will you comply? Bimbo looked at Joon-woo. He looked back, hopeful and terrified. If the court determines it's in Zara's best interest, yes. And if the court determines she should spend time in Korea, learning her paternal heritage, supervised, with me present, and only if she wants to. A 4-year-old can't make that decision. Then I'll make it for her. That's what mothers do. When it was Chiamaka's turn, she asked simply, "Ms. John, tell this court about your daughter." And Bimbo did. She told them about Zara's first word, mummy, her first steps, in Bimbo's office during a conference call, her love of coding, already building simple programs at 4, her kindness, once gave her favorite toy to a crying child, her strength, never once asked why she didn't have a daddy like other kids. "I don't have ancestral money," Bimbo said finally, voice breaking. "I can't offer mansions or private schools in Switzerland, but I offer love, safety, a mother who shows her daughter that women don't need anyone's permission to be extraordinary." She looked directly at Madame Kang. "You want to take my daughter to teach her she's a Kang? I've spent 5 years teaching her she's enough all by herself. You can't buy that, you can't lawyer it away, and you definitely can't take it from us." The courtroom was silent. "Ms. John," Judge Adeyemi said, "what about the father? Where does he fit in your daughter's life?" Bimbo's throat tightened. "That's complicated. Uncomplicated." She looked at Joon-woo. He looked back, and for the first time, she saw past her anger. She saw a man destroyed by his own cowardice, a man who'd spent 5 years trying to become worthy, a man who might, possibly, deserve a second chance. Not with her, never with her, but with Zara. "He made a choice 5 years ago," Bimbo said slowly. "The wrong choice, but—" She paused. This was it, the moment that would define everything. But people can change. If he proves he's changed, if he puts Zara's needs before his family's expectations, if he shows up consistently and loves her without agenda, then maybe there's room for him in Zara's life, not mine, but hers. It wasn't forgiveness, but it wasn't hatred either. Joon-woo's eyes closed briefly and a single tear rolled down his cheek. "Mr. Kang," the judge said, "approach." Joon-woo stood, walked to the stand, and for the next 20 minutes laid his soul bare. He talked about his cowardice, his regret, the 5 years he'd spent becoming someone worthy of redemption. "I left Korea," he said, "not because I thought it would win Bimbo back. I knew I'd destroyed that. But because I needed to prove to myself I could stand alone. I cut ties with my family's money, started my own company in Singapore, built something honest, something mine. Not because it would impress anyone, because I needed to look in the mirror and not hate what I saw." "And your mother?" Judge Adeyemi asked. "My mother lives in a world where power matters more than people. I used to live there too, but Bimbo showed me something different. She showed me that strength isn't controlling others. It's choosing integrity when it costs you everything." He looked at Bimbo. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want my daughter to know that her father tried, that he learned, that he became someone she could be proud of, even if it took him too long to get there." Judge Adeyemi made notes for what felt like hours. "I'll render my decision in 1 hour." The court dismissed. The waiting room was tense. Bimbo sat with Miji and Chiamaka, trying to breathe normally. Zara was with a child specialist playing games, unaware her entire future was being decided. Joon-woo appeared in the doorway. "Can we talk?" Chiamaka started to object, but Bimbo stood. 5 minutes. They walked to an empty hallway. "Whatever happens," Joon-woo said, "I want you to know I'm not going to stop fighting for the right to know Zara, but I'll never fight you. If the court says no, I'll accept it. If you say no, I'll respect it. But I had to try. You're 5 years too late for trying. I know. You destroyed me. I know. I built myself back without you. I know. And you're magnificent." His voice broke. "You were always magnificent. I was just too stupid and scared to deserve you." Bimbo looked at him, really looked, and saw genuine transformation. It didn't erase the past, but maybe it could shape the future. If the judge grants you access, she said carefully, there will be rules, boundaries. You don't get to waltz into Zara's life and disappear when things get hard. I won't. You don't get to bring your mother anywhere near her. She's already packing. I made it clear if she ever contacts you or Zara again, I'll destroy every business connection she has in Asia. She believed me. Good. And Bimbo? He took a breath. I don't expect you to forgive me. Not now. Maybe not ever. But I hope someday you'll let me earn it. Not your love. I lost that. But maybe your respect. Before Bimbo could respond, Chiamaka appeared. Judge is back. The courtroom filled quickly. Judge Adeyemi looked stern, papers spread before her. I've reviewed all evidence, testimony, and materials presented. This court finds the following. Bimbo's heart hammered so hard she thought everyone could hear it. Madame Kang's petition for custody is denied. Bimbo nearly collapsed with relief. Miji grabbed her hand. The evidence presented regarding Ms. John's unfitness is fabricated and, frankly, insulting. This child has a mother who loves her, provides for her, and creates a stable, nurturing home. That is not changing. Madame Kang's face remained impassive, but her hands clenched. However, the judge continued, the court recognizes that Joon-woo Kang has demonstrated genuine reformation. While his past actions were reprehensible, his efforts to change appear sincere. Therefore, he is granted supervised visitation rights to begin immediately with the possibility of unsupervised visits pending successful completion of a 6-month evaluation period. Joon-woo's hands covered his face. Furthermore, any attempts by Madame Kang or the Kang family to interfere with this arrangement, to contact the minor child without permission, or to circumvent this court's ruling will result in a permanent restraining order and possible criminal charges. Am I clear? Yes, Your Honor, all the lawyers chorused. This court is dismissed. The gavel fell like thunder. Outside, chaos, reporters, cameras, protesters cheering. Bimbo walked through it all holding Zara, head high, victorious. Joon-woo walked beside them, not touching, just present. Mummy, Zara asked, who's that man? Why is he crying? Bimbo knelt down to her daughter's level, choosing her words carefully. Baby, this is someone who made mistakes, big ones, but he's trying very hard to be better, and sometimes we give people chances to show us who they can become. Is he nice? I think he's trying to be. Zara studied Joon-woo with 4-year-old seriousness. Do you like ice cream? Joon-woo laughed, surprised and delighted. Yes, very much. What's your favorite? I don't know. What's yours? Chocolate with sprinkles, but sometimes strawberry. Mummy says I can't decide anything. I'm the same way, Joon-woo said softly. Then you can come with us to get ice cream, but I get to pick the place and Mummy pays because she has all the money. Bimbo laughed despite everything. Deal. They walked to the ice cream shop 3 blocks away. Bimbo, Zara, Joon-woo, and Miji. An imperfect family, broken and rebuilding. At the shop, Zara ordered chocolate with extra sprinkles. Joon-woo ordered vanilla. Bimbo got strawberry. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, Miji whispered. Extremely, Bimbo agreed. But as she watched Joon-woo carefully help Zara with her cone, asking her about her favorite colors and animals and whether she thought dinosaurs were cool, something in her chest loosened. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But maybe, possibly, the beginning of healing. Zara was laughing at one of Joon-woo's terrible jokes, something about a penguin and a refrigerator, when she suddenly asked, "Are you my daddy?" The question hung in the air. Joon-woo looked at Bimbo, asking permission. She nodded slightly. "Yes," he said quietly, "I am, if you want me to be." "Where were you before?" "I was lost, making mistakes, being foolish." "Mummy says everyone makes mistakes." "Your mummy is very wise." "I know. She's the smartest person in the whole world. Zara took another lick of ice cream. Can you visit sometimes? I'd love to, if your mummy says it's okay. Zara looked at Bimbo. Is it okay? And Bimbo, looking at her daughter's hopeful face, said, Yes, baby, it's okay. 6 months later, Bimbo's company had expanded to 5 countries. The Kang Corporation contract, combined with the publicity from the trial, had made her a multi-millionaire. She'd been featured in Forbes, Time, and every major tech publication as the woman who wouldn't bend. Joon-woo had moved to Lagos permanently, rented a modest apartment in Ikoyi, started a small tech consultancy. Nothing like his family's empire, but honest, his. He saw Zara 3 times a week, supervised at first by Miji, then slowly, carefully, on his own. He taught her Korean words. She taught him Yoruba phrases. They were building something fragile and real. One evening, Joon-woo came to pick up Zara for their weekly dinner. There's a tech conference in Seoul next month, he said carefully. I'm speaking. Would you both want to come? To Korea? Bimbo set down her coffee. To see that I've changed everything, that I'm not that man anymore. My mother won't be there. She's banned from the event per my request. It would just be us, and Zara could see where I grew up. If you're comfortable? Bimbo considered. Seoul, the city that destroyed her, but also the city where she'd discovered her strength. Zara, she called, come here, baby. Zara ran over, braids bouncing. Want to see where Daddy's from? Is it far? Very far. We'd need to take a big plane. Will there be ice cream there? Joon-woo laughed. The best ice cream in the world. Then yes. Can Auntie Me come? If she wants to. Bimbo looked at Joon-woo. If we do this, it's not about us. It's about Zara seeing her heritage. I know. And we're staying in separate hotels. Of course. And if your mother shows up, she won't. I've made sure of it. Bimbo took a breath. Okay, let's do it. Joon-woo's smile was genuine, grateful, and completely free of expectation. Progress. The hotel room overlooked the Seoul city lights. Zara was asleep in the adjoining room, exhausted from a day of exploring Gyeongbokgung Palace and eating tteokbokki until her belly hurt. Bimbo stood at the window, remembering the last time she'd seen this view. Younger, pregnant, terrified. Now she was here by choice, on her terms, unbreakable. A knock. Joon-woo stood in the hallway holding something wrapped in cloth. I found this, he said, in my old apartment. I kept it all these years. It was the coffee-stained Armani suit, the one she'd ruined at their second meeting. You kept it? As a reminder of the day I met someone who didn't care about my money or my name, just challenged me to be better. He set it down. Bimbo, I know I can't undo the past. I know saying sorry is meaningless compared to what I did. But I need you to know, you and Zara are the best thing that ever happened to me. Even if all I ever get to be is her father at supervised visits, that's more than I deserve. And I'll spend the rest of my life being worthy of it. Bimbo looked at him. Really looked. 5 years ago, she'd loved a boy playing at Rebellion. Now she was looking at a man who'd actually changed. I don't love you anymore, she said quietly. He nodded, accepting it. But I don't hate you either. And maybe, someday, we can be friends. Real friends. For Zara. I'd like that. Good. She smiled slightly. Now go. Your daughter wants you to take her to Lotta World tomorrow. Something about wanting to meet Korean princesses. She has no idea she's looking at the real queen. Bimbo laughed. Smooth. You're learning. I had a good teacher. After he left, Bimbo went back to the window. Seoul glittered below, beautiful and cold and exactly as she remembered. But this time she wasn't being dragged away. This time she was choosing to be here. And that made all the difference. 5 years later at Bimbo's company headquarters, Lagos. Mummy, Dad's here. 9-year-old Zara ran through the office, braids flying. She was brilliant, fierce, fluent in 4 languages now, and absolutely her mother's daughter. Joon-woo walked in carrying a birthday cake. Double chocolate as requested. You remembered. Always. Bimbo emerged from her office, phone to her ear, closing a deal with a German corporation. She hung up, smiled at the scene. Joon-woo was living in Lagos permanently now. His tech consultancy had grown into something substantial. He'd built his own success, separate from his family's shadow. He saw Zara regularly. Every school play, every science fair, every moment that mattered. He'd become the father he should have been from the beginning. They weren't together, probably never would be, but they were family, broken, rebuilt, and stronger for it. Cake time? Bimbo asked. Cake time, Zara confirmed. They gathered in the conference room, Bimbo, Joon-woo, Zara, Miji, and the entire company staff. Someone lit candles. Zara closed her eyes, made a wish. What did you wish for? Joon-woo asked. Can't tell. It won't come true. Smart girl. I got it from my mom, and maybe a little from you. Joon-woo's eyes went suspiciously bright. Bimbo laughed, cut the cake, and looked around at this improbable life she'd built. She'd been broken in an airport 10 years ago, but she'd rebuilt herself into something unbreakable. Miji pulled her aside. You know he's still in love with you, right? I know. And you? I respect him. I co-parent with him. I might even call him a friend. But love? No. That ship sailed and sank. Are you sure? Because the way you smile when Zara tells stories about their adventures is the smile of a mother happy that her daughter has a good father. Nothing more. If you say so. But later that evening, when Bimbo was reviewing contracts and Joon-woo texted a photo of Zara laughing at some joke he'd told, she caught herself smiling. Not love, but maybe something gentler. Acceptance. Gratitude that he'd changed. Relief that Zara had both parents, even if those parents would never be together. Some stories don't end with couples reuniting. They end with people becoming who they were always meant to be. And that was enough. 10 years later at a Dubai tech conference, the auditorium was packed. 10,000 entrepreneurs. Bimbo John stood on stage in a custom suit, looking every inch the billionaire CEO she'd become. They asked me how I did it, she said, voice carrying across the massive space. How I built a billion-dollar company after being deported, abandoned, and told I'd never succeed. And I tell them, I stopped waiting for permission. I stopped believing I needed anyone's approval to be extraordinary. I became the coconut that doesn't bend. Thunderous applause. In the front row, 19-year-old Zara clapped hardest. MIT graduate at 17, already building her own cybersecurity startup. Already being called the next Bimbo John, which made her laugh because she was absolutely her mother's daughter. Beside her, Joon-woo smiled proudly. Grayer now, lines around his eyes, but genuinely happy. And beside him, a woman named Susan, Korean-American tech investor, someone he'd met 2 years ago at a conference, someone kind and patient who'd helped him finally forgive himself. Bimbo had been at their wedding 6 months ago, given a toast that made everyone cry, meant every word, because she'd learned something crucial. Some people come into your life to be your forever. Others come to teach you how to become yourself. Joon-woo was the latter, and she was grateful. After the speech, Zara hugged her. You killed it, Mom. Language. You destroyed it. Better. Joon-woo approached with Susan. Incredible speech, truly. Thanks. How's married life? Surprisingly wonderful, Susan said, smiling. Thank you again for the gift. The smart home system is amazing. Zara programmed it. Thank her. They stood there, comfortable in their complicated history. 4 people who'd found peace in unexpected places. You know, Joon-woo said quietly to Bimbo, sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd chosen differently that day at the airport. Bimbo smiled. We'd probably have destroyed each other. Some people aren't meant to be together. They're meant to make each other better through the breaking. That's very wise. I have my moments. Zara rolled her eyes. Are you two done being philosophical? I'm starving. And I found this amazing Nigerian restaurant nearby. They laughed and headed to dinner, an imperfect, rebuilt, absolutely perfect family. And as Bimbo walked through Dubai's glittering streets, successful beyond measure, loved beyond expectation, surrounded by people who'd chosen to show up for her, she thought, "Thank you, Joon-woo, for breaking my heart. It taught me to build an unbreakable one. Thank you very much for staying till the end." If this story changed you, hit that like button. Comment, "Coconut power if you believe in second chances and women who refuse to break." Subscribe for more stories about people who turn their pain into power. Thank you for watching and see you in the next story.